The question is, what's the minimum amount of time or the appropriate amount of time? I think the minimum amount of time is whatever value you can deliver. If you can, I'm a consultant, and people ask me how I price. I don't price by the hour. I price by the value I deliver. I ask clients all the time, if I can give you the answer to your problem that will make you $100,000 and I can give you that answer in 5 minutes, do you care? And the answer is uniformly no. I want the result. I don't care about the time. If you can give someone a result that they need, that they're willing to pay for in 5 minutes of recording, go for it. Typically, they're about an hour long, but that just seems people have that much to say. As you saw from, or heard from Sarah's explanation, hers was 11 hours, but it was also high value and priced accordingly. So here's one of my CDs. It's a book on CD, but could easily be an audio recording. So it's a nice printed CD. The inside's printed. There's a nice jacket. This was $1.75, the whole thing. It was, since it's an ebook, it was done in Word and converted to a PDF. I uploaded it to a service. I used Photoshop and Illustrator to do the artwork. The picture was free. And in this book, if you happen to get one, we'll give you all the references to where you can actually get all these pictures for free, no license cost. If you're doing audiobooks and you want music, intro music, bumper music, outros, it's all free. It's all downloadable from the internet. $1.75 and you have a product. This product, if I were selling it, and I'm not, it's not my business, but if I were selling it, I would price this at $47 because it includes my book and 5 others. And that's the retail price of all the books combined. So it cost me $1.75, sell it for $47. You can do the math, but it doesn't take much. And anybody who wants one is welcome to come up and pick one up. Okay, well, here you go. I didn't mean now, but please do. Please do. Okay.
Yes. Before they're gone.
Please do. So either you record a live event or you have your top 10 questions and you convert those into an audio interview. Maybe you ask the same person, and I think this is what Sarah did, you kind of ask different people the same question and you get different perspectives. Or if you want to kind of have a hybrid, you could interview other people and let them give the basic information and then you augment that with your additional expertise. So your voice is still on there. Either way, it's available. People want to take your information home because they want to listen to it while they're exercising, while they're cleaning house, while they're driving to work, whatever it is. And they want to have this information. Now, let's go to the next step. You take your 10 questions, for example, and if Sarah would be willing to argue with me, she'd tell you that top 10 lists are for comedy. So the 10 is really a placeholder. I don't literally mean 10, I mean a sufficient number. It can't just be 1 or 2. It may be 8, maybe 12. It's whatever the right amount of information is. So that's your first product. Now take each of those 10 questions, or 8 or 9 or 12, and expand them to an hour answer for each one. Do a deep dive on each one. Now you have a 6 or 8 or 10 CD set. And instead of $20, it's now $500. And it's really the same content. Please.
I want to ask the difference between doing a podcast today that seems people want to be able to do podcasts versus getting CDs. Does it make a difference? I mean, is a product that works like putting it on iTunes?
You can certainly do the same thing and make a podcast out of it and give it away if that's your choice. Well, podcasts are always free downloads, but there certainly are digital downloads available from iTunes. All Brian's are on iTunes. I have a couple on iTunes. I'm not sure who else has them on iTunes yet, but you can buy audio from iTunes, Amazon, Spotify. There's like a dozen digital downloads. Podcasts are the same concept, but those you just give them away. I'm not talking about giving things away. Maybe little samples. Get people. You've got 110 products. You have a series. You have multiple books, Kelly. You have multiple books. So we're gonna quickly go through the other sections on the back side of the page, and then we'll take more questions as we go. One of the questions always is, I hate what I sound like when I recorded. What do I do about it? And unfortunately, I have the same problem, and I'm a professional. I was a professional actor for years. The answer is get over it. It's what you sound like. If you give a speech in public, you're not going to edit it. You're not going to have somebody back there, unless you're me. You're not going to have somebody behind the scenes with an equalizer adjusting the tone of your voice. You're going to have to get over it. If you can't, well, let's talk and we'll talk to Kay. But get over it. The other thing is editing. I am a stickler for grammar like many people in the room, but I will tell you that people's tolerance of grammar and sentence structure is much lower on an ebook than a printed book. It's unfortunately the way of the world. I cringe. I try not to be in that category. Get over it. Or hire Kelly. That's the other option. So when it comes to editing and taking out ums and ahs and such on your audio, keep this in mind. Passion over polish. People want to hear the passion in your voice. They will give up. They will care less about the ums and ahs and tongue stumbles and what are called double clutches and repetitions and whatevers, which I am extremely guilty of. I remember giving a speech once to somebody who was a district DTM from Toastmasters. So they're pretty high up in the ranks, right? So afterwards I said, well, how was my speech? He said, well, you didn't say or ah at all. I said, of course I did. I said it 37 times. You just didn't hear it because you were listening to what I was saying, not the way I was saying it. So it's the same with your products, in your writing, in your audio. Passion is way more important than polish. And I will say if you take out too much of the ums and the ahs and the background noises and the glass clinking, your audio will sound very sterile. It will actually be worse. Leave it alone. No touche pas. Okay, so let's get on to repurposing. And this is we're going to pick on Kelly in just a second, so Kelly, be ready. There's a guy named Robert Bly who's probably considered the father of copywriting, marketing copywriting. Here are 3 of his books. Different covers, different styles, different flavors, different titles, different look, these are the same book. If you read the contents, all the same. They're like 2 years apart each. He just, changed a little bit, put a little different title on it. Same book.
And for teens.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. Chicken soup for the left-handed soul. On Tuesdays, after dark. Now, I'm certainly not saying that you should be a charlatan, but with just slight modifications, you have a different product. Or, as Kelly's going to talk about, we can convert product from one learning modality to another. But first,
a book doesn't have to be this big, huge thing either. Just real quick, you can do a quick book, your top 10 tips, or a compilation of things you already have. My first book was just a collection of my newspaper columns. So you can put out a book, a print book, quickly and cheaply too. And I don't know if we're going to get to that today. So that's just for people who are like, oh, the book is too big and hard. It doesn't have to be, and then you still get the cred as published author. So what was the real question?
Repurposing. Audio into a book.
Yes. So if you have an audio and you want to make it into an ebook, that is, you just need a transcribed, but then also edited to make it sound like we speak a whole different way. And again, can I even use an example? He said about, he's like, hey, he had this audio, they had it transcribed, can you edit it for an ebook? $300, it was like that. So it's not like this huge expense, huge time, and then you have this lovely ebook that you can sell for whatever you're going to sell, and it reads grammatically correct, and it's lovely. So don't get all stuck up in, you know what I mean? Sorry. As a speaker, sometimes I'm actually able to speak.
In full sentences.
Yes.
Thank you, and please select the product.
Awesome. I want the tripod.
Not that tripod. Kelly brought up a good point about the tripod. I talked earlier about a digital recorder. This thing at the top of the tripod is a high-definition video camera. It's about $300. It's called a Hero. So the idea that you say you don't have video of your presentations, you buy 1 or 2 of these, put a clamp on some post somewhere, and you actually have a video of your presentation. So I have this in a waterproof case because I use it on the boat, but you don't have to use the waterproof case. So let's talk about delivering your product. There's physical product, like books, And there are digital books, cards, posters, etc. And there are digital products, ebooks, audios, videos. Sometimes you deliver your digital products physically, and sometimes you deliver them digitally. So for example, what you have on the table up here are a couple of ebooks of mine that are delivered physically in that they're burned to a CD. So I use a company called Kunaki, K-U-N-A-K-I. It's in the book that you guys all have. You upload the information to their website, upload some artwork, tell them how many you want, and a couple days later it shows up in a nice little box. And if you order 5 or less, they're $1. And if you order more than 5, they're $1.75. It's really hard to beat that price. I hate to admit it, I uploaded this at 4 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. I had them on my doorstep yesterday afternoon. And it was all through Kunaki. You don't talk to anybody, it's all automated. If you want it, you want it tomorrow, they can probably do that too. I think if you really want it tomorrow, you go to a local vendor. There's one here in Carroll Stream, I think. But another option is to put it onto USB drives. There's a company, their name's in the book, where they will actually load your information on a USB drive, put your logo on the outside of the USB drive, and send them to you. They're $2 or $3. Yes, they're a little more expensive than a CD, but I think they have more prestige. They're more modern. So it may be worthwhile, and if you're selling for, because everyone's got a 20 in their pocket anyway price, it may not matter. And then for digital download, you have a couple of options, and I think this is where it gets a little tricky. You can use the big boys, iTunes, Amazon, Audible, which is owned by Amazon anyway. The problem with those is iTunes and Amazon sets the price of all digital audio product. I was working on a project for a friend of mine, and he wanted to sell his CDs for 20 bucks. And iTunes said, I don't care, it's $9.99. Amazon said, I don't care, it's $8.99. Doesn't matter what retail price you set. So as you're developing your product, your marketing plan, you may want to put an intro product on iTunes and Amazon, and after that you're going to have to sell it a different way. For example, Sarah's 11-disc set would not properly sell on iTunes as a download because they would price it at $9. Now, if you sell it as a physical product with 11 physical CDs, you can still sell it through Amazon at whatever price you set. But if you're trying to do digital downloads, you can't do that. So when you move above the $9 or $10 price range, you're going to have your own e-commerce site. And I have a link to a couple of them in the book. And it's not unusual you'll have multiple ways of selling. That your inexpensive product, your intro product would be iTunes, Amazon, and your deep dive product, more expensive product, would be through your own e-commerce site. And the last thing we'll talk about at the moment before questions is monetizing. What really can you get? And the answer is, it is all dependent on the value you deliver. If you can give somebody 3 words, 5 words, and get $10,000 for it, you can. Let me give you an example. I was hired by a hospital to explain to them why they should utilize digital imaging in their radiology department. And I quoted them a price, and then I said, I'm not going to give you a report, I'm going to give you the 5 words. And the 5 words were any image, anytime, anywhere. They wrote me a check. That was the answer. It didn't matter. I didn't need to write a 50-page report. I didn't need to spend 3 weeks going over it. I gave them the value they were looking for. And I think most clients would say, if you can do it sooner rather than later, faster rather than slower, I'll pay you more. But the market kind of says how much product is worth, so you do a comparison to other products similar to your similar niche, similar market, and use that as your baseline. Unfortunately, because of Amazon and iTunes, the baseline for an hour interview is probably going to be 10 bucks. It's just the nature of the beast. So you figure out how to add more value to it. Now, as I said earlier, one of the reasons why my book would be retailing at $47 is because I included my book, 2 by Fred Glick, and 1 by Michael Coker, and I can't remember what the other one was at the moment. It's all about selling from the platform and how to create product. So I just enhance the value. I know Scott Schmerin sells a CD of his information, and he includes on it a copy of Think and Grow Rich, which is not under copyright. Anybody who wants it can have it. The Secret, the big book, The Secret, not under copyright. Anyone can have it. Acres of Diamonds, people talk about gold in your backyard, not under copyright. Anyone can have it. Now that doesn't mean your readers and listeners know that. So if you include a copy with your product, you're enhancing the value of your product, and you can charge more for it. So with the less than negative 10 minutes I have left, because I know I've gone over time, let's get some more questions.
Maybe a legal question might be outside your bounds, but
Sure. I have no boundaries.
So let's say you've interviewed a bunch of people for a book or a radio show. Now you decide to do a CD series. Are you going to need their signature that that's fine too?
If you want to completely protect yourself, if you interview anybody else, get them to sign a model release. Not many people do it, but I have heard horror stories where after the fact somebody came back and said, I don't want that product out there, that's my voice. To protect yourself, just have one available, put it in front of you on the disc, or have somebody send you an email saying, yes, I'll participate. It is best to protect yourself. Please.
And I actually just researched this thoroughly. And as a videographer, I put out a lot of like portfolio stuff. So I thought it was a major issue that if I do like a wedding or an event, that I have to possibly have everyone sign. But for something like that, I may be fine. But if you're making profit off of any kind of promotional material, you have to get a waiver, at least in Illinois.
Yeah, waivers are important. If you're talking about work product, it's a little touchy there. The best is to just say, if you send an email saying, I'm going to record this, sell as a product, and they say, yeah, I understand, I don't think a court's going to look negatively on you. If you really want to protect yourself, a formal signed release is very important. Who else has a great question? Jill!
Okay, I recommend a certain book when I speak. And I'd like to make some money off of it when people go to my website to buy the book. However, because Illinois charges tax on the internet, Amazon will not let us be affiliates. Have you dealt with that I'm having the worst time getting this VIG on my website.
Well, if you want to sell the book in the back of the room, you have to physically buy the book.
Yeah, I want people just to click on my website and buy the book where I get some pennies for it.
Only by circumventing the law. Yeah, have them buy your own book, but only by circumventing the law can you get around that we don't want to go on that one. Who else would like to earn product by having a good question? Oh wait, everyone can have product anyway. Linda's question was about digital download. So let me take that a little further. There are e-commerce websites. E-commerce just means electronic commerce, where it's essentially your own web page. You have a catalog of product available. People select what they want, put in a virtual shopping cart, pay for it, and then they click on a link and they can actually download the digital product. There's a couple available that are also autoresponder email sites. One of the downsides, I'm jumping to the side here, one of the downsides of selling through Amazon and iTunes, you don't know who bought your product. You know that it's sold and you get paid for it, but you don't know who bought it. If you sell it through your own download site, then you know who bought it. You have their contact information and you can do follow-up marketing and upsell them to your next level product. So some of those e-commerce sites include the autoresponders in. So for example, people can buy a series of product and have one sent to them digitally, say every week or every month. Or people can, another advantage of e-commerce site that you can't do on iTunes or Amazon, if you sell an expensive product, you can take monthly payments. You can say, well, my $4.95 11 CD pack will say, send me $83 a month in the next 6 months and you can download it now. Where you can't do that with other kind of sites. So there's lots of permutations you can get. The best thing about e-commerce or selling through Amazon or iTunes is you don't have to actually do the work. You've done it once, you've uploaded 24 hours a day, whether you're speaking, whether you're on the beach, whether you're here hanging out with us, you can be selling your product. And that's one of the best reasons why you want to have your products digitally. Let me leave you with two thoughts. One is, some of us had the privilege of hanging out with Patricia Fripp recently. She confirmed for me in person that she makes more money selling product than she does doing speeches. And she gets paid typically $4,000 per speech. She sells way more product. I have some firsthand knowledge because I helped her sell product at a Toastmasters event. I was pretty busy for about 6 hours and we sold out every product she had. It was just amazing watching her work. I normally am not that outgoing and open to be selling product, but she just motivated me and we just whipped through every product she had. Here's my last thought. I have a friend named Sam Renocchio. He teaches people how to fly airplanes. And Sam says when you fly an airplane, it's typically a minute of sheer terror, punctuated by hours and hours of the best, most beautiful view in the world. I think making product is a few minutes of sheer terror. But the elation from finishing the product and having it sold over and over and over will be hours and hours of beauty and profit. So take the information that what you got from all these wonderful people today, take the information from the CDs that you got today, go home right now and start making that product.
Here, the Engaging Speakers website will also be an e-commerce site for
Yeah.
anyone with that profile.
And once you make your product, Engaging Speakers will sell it for you on their website. Thank you. And that's it.